Saluton from BA. This is a Rorschach Multilateral update from the 5th of November 2024, a summary of what's going down in the world's major multilateral institutions. To begin this week, on Saturday the 2nd, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, or OSCE, announced that they had deployed observers to the United States to improve confidence in the democratic process for the upcoming presidential election scheduled for Tuesday the 5th. The results of the election will likely come later in the week. On another note, tensions are escalating over the conflict in Ukraine. On Monday the 28th of October, NATO confirmed that North Korea had sent soldiers to support Russia in the conflict. The deployment has caused fears of escalating tensions. The involvement of North Korean troops, likely in logistical roles, also raised questions about how South Korea and the West might respond to this new alliance. Many images of alleged evidence of North Korean troops in Europe had circulated previously, but this was the first instance of a confirmation from NATO itself. In other news, the EU announced 12 million euros in support of a biodiversity finance initiative from the United Nations Development Programme on Tuesday the 29th of October. This funding will assist countries in achieving biodiversity goals through market-based solutions and public finance reform. It focuses on areas such as marine protected areas in West Africa and sustainable investments in Asia. As tackling climate change becomes a larger part of the agenda of multilateral organizations, they have decided to tackle different aspects of climate change separately. This is not the EU's first initiative on climate change. The Union has devoted hundreds of millions of euros to reduce the impact of climate change globally. Also concerning the EU, Japan and the Union announced a security and defense partnership on Friday the 1st, motivated by increasing regional tensions involving China, North Korea, and Russia. The agreement includes plans for joint military exercises and defense industry collaboration. Gen Nakatani, the Japanese defense minister, and Josep Borrell, the EU foreign policy chief, emphasized that security concerns in Europe and the Indo-Pacific are closely linked. The EU is generally divorced from defense and military politics in its multilateral capacities, especially as NATO often bears the responsibilities of collective defense in the region. It is especially uncommon for a country that is not on the same continent to partner with the EU on defensive matters. The UN Security Council emphasized the importance of maintaining the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, or UNRWA, on Wednesday the 30th of October, expressing deep concern over Israeli efforts to weaken it. The UNRWA provides crucial support to millions of Palestinian refugees, especially in health, education, and emergency aid. Council members stressed that reducing support could destabilize the already fragile humanitarian situation and worsen tensions across the regions. We have other stories concerning Israel and multilateral organizations this week. Moussa Faki Mahamat, the African Union chairperson, also urged the United Nations to hold Israel accountable under international law. On Thursday the 31st, he highlighted the severe impact on humanitarian aid delivery and called on Israel to uphold its legal duties. There have been numerous instances of Israeli efforts that have prevented or hindered the timely delivery of humanitarian aid, particularly in Gaza. While there are some international legal protections that apply to the people of Gaza, critics have argued that they are not strong enough. Israel has enough power regionally that often its government has a final say on what aid is effectively delivered. The United Nations World Food Programme also has concerns about the future of Gaza. The organization issued an urgent warning on Sunday the 3rd about the escalating humanitarian crisis, which could lead to famine if aid restrictions persist. It highlighted that limited access to food and essential supplies, plus severe disruptions in aid delivery, has left millions at risk. On a different topic, Karim Khan, the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, requested an internal investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct involving a female aide on Friday the 1st. Despite Khan's denial of the allegations, he expressed a willingness to cooperate with the inquiry and emphasized the need for confidentiality in court proceedings. The case raises significant concerns about workplace conduct within the court. Next up, Catherine Russell, the executive director of the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, highlighted the devastating impact of the ongoing war in Lebanon on children, stating that hundreds have died and over 1,000 have been injured since the war began more than a year ago. According to a statement published on Friday the 1st, Russell explained that many children have severe emotional distress, including anxiety and nightmares, exacerbated by the violence. UNICEF has provided psychological support to almost 10,000 children and caregivers. The International Monetary Fund's Regional Economic Outlook for Asia and the Pacific noted a slight improvement in growth forecasts, projecting a better performance than the organization had expected earlier in the year. However, the risks to the region are rising, influenced by geopolitical tensions and global demand uncertainty. The report, published on Thursday, the 31st of October, highlights that while inflation is easing, demographic changes could hinder growth unless productivity and labor participation are boosted to adapt to shifting economic landscapes, particularly in high productivity sectors like services. On the same day, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, officially began the accession process with Thailand, marking a significant milestone in the country's integration into the organization. The decision follows years of collaborative efforts, with Thailand aiming to improve its policies and governance in line with OECD standards. The process will involve comprehensive assessments and alignment of Thailand's practices with OECD principles across various sectors, fostering economic growth and sustainable development. Australia achieved a significant milestone by ratifying one of the International Labour Organization's promotional framework for occupational safety and health conventions on Tuesday, the 29th of October. This action completes Australia's commitment to all 10 core conventions from the organization, reinforcing its dedication to maintaining high standards in workplace safety and health. The ratification aligns with a recent Australian plan to improve workplace safety, which seeks to address various workplace hazards, including psychosocial risks, improving the overall well-being of Australian workers. In unrelated news, the United Nations General Assembly renewed its long-standing call to end the U.S. embargo against Cuba on Wednesday, the 30th of October. The embargo has been in place since 1960. The resolution, supported by an overwhelming majority, reflects widespread international criticism of the embargo, which opposers argue has hindered Cuba's development and exacerbated humanitarian challenges. This latest vote continues the trend of global advocacy for lifting the embargo, emphasizing the need for diplomatic solutions and cooperation. The Pan American Health Organization, or PAHO, issued an epidemiological alert regarding the rising cases of measles in the Caribbean on Friday the 1st. The alert highlights the need for vaccination campaigns and heightened surveillance as outbreaks have been reported in several countries. PAHO stressed the importance of maintaining high vaccination coverage to prevent further transmission and protect vulnerable populations, especially children. This initiative aims to curb the spread of the disease and ensure community health. On Tuesday, the 29th of October, the World Health Organization reported that tuberculosis, or TB, has resurfaced as the leading killing infectious disease globally, surpassing COVID-19. Despite a slight decrease in TB-related deaths, significant funding gaps persist, particularly affecting low- and middle-income countries. The report highlights the urgent need for increased financial investment in TB prevention and treatment, alongside tackling underlying risk factors such as poverty and malnutrition. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Are you a long-time listener? Would you like to get some more in-depth episodes and interviews? Do you have any topics in mind? Something specific about the Multilateral update that you want to know more about for us to do a special show on? We want to do some new things very soon. Please email us at info@rorschach.com with your suggestions. See you next week!